a much has a it's much more environmental lean than it did when I took it 30 years ago, which I'm really pleased with. There's a lecture on native alternatives and ecosystems, and they get it. And so I took some of our books to that and sold them all. So the next one's in March, and it's really interesting. We had 30 people take the test and they all passed. So it's moving along.
Good. All right. Native plant seminars is next on our list. Andy Upchurch talked last week. We had 78 people in attendance. So our attendance is very good at these seminars, I'm finding. I've been real pleased with that. Our next one up is someone you suggested, Susie, Robin Whitfield.
Good. She's delightful.
All right. She's into conservation strongly, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And she does paintings, watercolor, experiments with forged wild pigments.
Yeah.
So it should be interesting. It's going to probably be more on the creative side.
Well, now she saved a wetland. She saved a wetland that's in the city limits of Grenada, Mississippi. They were about to dig it all up and mow it down and cut it out, and she saved it. So that's her big thing.
Okay.
What's the date for that seminar?
October 19th.
Okay.
All right. Field trips. Well, Larry and Susan, I've got, was it Larry?
Yeah, Larry.
No. Larry and Susan has sent me their reports for the last trips that they've had. I think we have 2 trips left.
Nope, just one.
Just one. Just one?
Mm-hmm. Just mine. We did the second to last one, last weekend. So my trip this weekend is it.
Okay. Well, and then we'll be done for the year. Okay. Well, we'll put your trip report in the next newsletter.
Good deal.
The December one. All righty.
Well, field trips, before we leave that subject, the people who are here, we need to start thinking about places we want to go next year. So we will try to have a meeting at the beginning of December. I don't know if we'll do a Zoom meeting or if we will just email like we did last year, but try to organize everything by the beginning of December to come up with the proposals for the calendar so that we won't rush at the end to try to get that in the newsletter in March or February, whenever.
Well, I would like to throw in something.
Sure.
It has been a while since, now discounting going to Couchville a couple of years ago, but when I first got into this with you, we were going to a cedar glade every time I turned around. But
Yeah.
we've not been to one of those cedar glades in a while. I'm thinking specifically of one that we went to that we saw the breadfruit and then some little yellow star grass.
Yeah.
Remember
I think
that?
that may have been Vesta.
It probably was. I'm
think it
not
was.
sure. At that point in time, I didn't know the names of all of those places, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was Vesta. Well, I'll put a bug in Todd's ear because he kind of is the one that usually does those trips and see if he can come up with something for next year.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Let's see, Bart, I guess besides you and I and Larry and maybe and Susan and of course Alan, of course, I guess we'd like to keep Todd involved with the field trips if he's willing.
Yeah, I mean, at least keep him involved with leading some.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think, yes,
I
definitely.
agree.
And I think he will. I don't think that would be the issue. I just think he wanted to get rid of responsibilities. So having, being the committee chairman, taking care of the schedule and everything, I just think he didn't want to deal with that anymore. But I don't think he would mind leading a field trip or two every year.
Well, that's good.
Is he going to be able to join you on your trip discussion?
I hope so.
Okay,
He's still on the committee.
good. Okay.
Sounds good. All right, anything else on field trips? All right, we'll move to next year's conference. Bettina's been really working, getting things organized for this. We've got a date and a place. We'll be in Chattanooga. Well, you tell the story.
Yeah, we have reservations at the Clarion. And it's $69 a night. And this is in Lookout Valley. Arlen, can you mute yourself? Can you mute yourself? Or is that me coming back through? Sorry. Dennis has kindly agreed to be a leader as well. So I guess what we'll do is we'll all get together and we'll see how many people are coming and decide where we might want to go, because we've done it both ways. We've all gone together, or we've done one trip where one leader led like the morning and one leader led the afternoon. But we have a lot of really great places that we could go. We have Little Cedar Mountain, Big Soddy Gap, and I'm even going to explore the Lula Lake Land Trust, which is the end of Lookout Mountain. And it's in Georgia, actually, but Bart says that it's good. And there's actually Austin Prater from UTC did his master's thesis on the flora. So we actually have a plant list. So that could be really good. So I'm going to check into that as well. But I guess it's going to depend. If we do a longish hike, we might just need to do one, or we could do one optional one in the morning, or people might want to go to the aquarium. But we have lots of possibilities. And I'm going to look, Dennis, I'm going to look, I haven't been to either of those two, Little Cedar Mountain or Big Soddy. I haven't gone the whole way, but I'm going to, before we decide which one we're going to use, I'm going to, do the whole trail. And of course, we won't know what it is in the spring, but I have some ideas. Okay, so the rooms are $69. They will, what they're doing is up until 2 weeks, you get that rate up until 2 weeks before the meeting. And then 2 weeks before the meeting, they release the room. So you could still get a room if they had rooms available. And the price goes up to $129.
Wow.
So it almost sounds too good to be true, but I think we're fine. So
What are the dates again?
May 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Okay, thanks.
And now I guess we need some suggestions for speakers. If anybody has any bright ideas of somebody that would be a good, a good person to ask, that would be great.
Well, Cooper Breeden was going to come to our meeting, but didn't because of COVID, so he's an option.
Mhm.
And then I guess the folks from Nashville, the nursery folks.
The Grow Wild.
Yeah, Grow Wild, thanks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I invited, Cooper has spoken at our seminar
Right.
after he couldn't, after we canceled the
Yeah,
speakers.
he was like the third one or something, third or fourth one.
Right, he was an early one, early part of the summer, late, I think like June, May or June, somewhere in there. He spoke at that, so I don't know if having him a second time would be the wisest thing to do.
Well, if anybody's just dying to give a talk, please let me know.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
I'd like to give one on vaccinations.
You don't want me to do that one.
Yeah, Bart could probably back you up on it, huh?
I might lose my cool.
Bettina, how many Clarion hotels are there in Chattanooga?
Well, this one's in Lookout Valley,
Okay,
so it's on the southwest side of Chattanooga.
okay.
So, and it's not very far. It's a ways. How long did it take us, Harlan, to get to Little Cedar Mountain? Half an hour. It's half an hour to Little Cedar Mountain. It's probably more like an hour if we go up to Big Sided Golf. And there are some other, Lula Lake is probably less than 30 minutes as well. So there are quite a few places that are pretty close. And this area has a lot of motels and there's a lot of restaurants. There's like a Cracker Barrel. And once we get a sense of how many people we're going to have, maybe we could ask them, we could, make reservations for like a group meal, maybe on Saturday night.
Is it on Cummings Highway?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Dennis, we had a field trip one time to, I think, Chickamauga right at this time, and the rhododendron were blooming and the skullcap, weren't they?
Gosh, I'm not sure I remember.
It was about 7 or 8 years ago, or maybe 10.
Are you talking?
I remember we had it was during the middle of May, because I think.
Would it be north of Chattanooga?
No, it would have been
So
south.
that's
I
south.
think.
It's in Georgia. It's like on the border, Georgia.
I think it was at Chickamauga.
Was it, would it be in
the
the
battlefield?
newsletter?
It might be. What, Dennis?
Would it be the battlefield there?
It might have been.
Yeah.
I just remember that, the pictures. I think Todd led it actually,
Okay.
but it was, I think, the Catawba rhododendron and the skullcaps, I think, were blooming then.
Somehow I just can't quite remember the situation or where it was.
It was somewhere close to Chattanooga.
The skullcaps would be in the gorge, west of Chattanooga in the gorge.
Yeah.
But I don't know. One thing I was going to mention is that in 2017, the Georgia Botanical Society had their annual meeting in Chattanooga. First time I think they actually had their meeting outside the state, but they had it in Chattanooga, and it was at the Clarion, the same place where Kent Mitchell, is it Mitchell Kent or Kent?
Mitchell Kent.
Mitchell Kent, yeah.
Kent. He kind of put it all together. He probably put together about 17 or so field trips to all different places. Of course, some of them were in Georgia, but a lot of them were in Tennessee. Bettina, you might want to reach out to him and just find out what all different places he went.
Yeah.
And maybe he may even have a write-up for all those places. That would be helpful. We would have even a bigger list to choose from.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
an embarrassment of riches. The other thing for people that maybe just, like getting ready to leave, sorry, I've got to plug my computer in, that on Sunday, there is a rare gradiola that is in the, there's a park right next to the Volkswagen plant. And there's a rare gradiola in a creek there. So that might be something somebody might want to, run up and take a look at.
I remember that from my TVA days.
Yes. We couldn't find it. We went back and we saw it this spring and we went back to see it, and we couldn't tell if it had just died back or if it was gone. But I guess we'll find out next spring if it's back. Yeah, Larry, I'm making a list, and I thought maybe you and Dennis has agreed to lead too. So maybe we could get together sometime, sometime this winter and decide how we would, how we would want to do it and which trips we would want to take, because there are so many good choices. Have you ever been to Lula Lake?
Yes. That's in Georgia, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real close. It's like the end of Lookout Mountain.
Yeah.
Like the Georgia end of Lookout Mountain. And so hopefully we'll be fine. And I'm going to work on fixing it so that we can have, so we don't have, people don't have to get their own lunch, that we can like get some catering or figure out a way so we can get lunch for Saturday, including vegetarian options, so that, that would make it a little bit easier than having to go get lunch. But anyway, I think we've got the groundwork. We just need to decide, what trips we're going to take and see how many people are coming.
So would this be both for a Saturday trip and a Sunday trip?
Well, that's what I was, what we've done in the past is we've just had a Saturday trip, and sometimes it's 2 trips, sometimes it's 1 trip, depending upon how many people there are and what have you. But and then usually the Sunday trip is informal, but we could offer a Sunday trip as well if people are interested.
It could always be an option.
Yeah.
I mean, you figure, people figure they're paying, they're paying for a room and they've paid the registration. They may as well, and they've driven to the location, may as well make the most of it. And as long as the weather is agreeable,
Yeah.
most people will want to stay on and
Well,
take.
we used to have board meetings on that Sunday, and then afterwards sometimes go do things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know if we still plan to do board meetings. That takes up some of our time to get out. So if we can do the board
Yeah,
meetings,
I'd rather do a Zoom board meeting and
yeah,
it's-
get out.
yes.
Despite the recent glitches, this has worked really well because people don't have to drive halfway across the state. Yeah.
I apologize for the glitches, those of you that just came on.
This is a good way to do things.
It makes it a lot easier for everyone. Well, thank you, Bettina. Sounds
Yeah.
like we're coming along really well on the conference. Next up is the photo library of Dennis's slides. And I'm calling it a photo library because I'd like to see a lot of other photos in there besides Dennis's. Of course, most of us are doing digital now, which nothing has to be done to them except offer them to TNPS
In public.
for use. But the older slides have to be digitized. Where we stand with that at the moment is that David, my husband, is cloud ahead. Dennis, he's gone through through two notebooks already. He's looking at doing the third one. So he's really moving on with getting them digitized.
Great.
This is, David's doing this?
David's doing it,
Wow.
and there's no cost.
And his
Although if he
look
wears
better.
out the scanner, we may have to replace that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a lot cheaper.
I
than-
move
I
that
make,
it's-
I make a motion that we, am I on, can you all hear
Yes,
me?
yeah.
Yeah, okay, so stop there, Karen. I make a motion that we approve the purchase of a scanner of any quality that's needed to continue this. This is magnificent.
Second.
90 cents a scan from the other people, and it was not, you
Yeah,
know, we had so much, the color was so variable.
yes.
So, so
Turned out
Karen,
David
I
does a
guess
better
that's out
job than
there.
the professional does.
So could we just all, I think all together, 1, 2, 3.
Buy you a
can we-
scanner.
Yeah.
can we approve it?
All right, is the motion of Pat, yay or nay on the motion?
Yay.
Yay,
Yay.
yay.
Okay. Thank you. I'll tell David. I had to say something about the scanner because, excuse me, allergies, I guess. Yesterday, he was chugging away on the scanner and it started making these horrific noises. And he turned it off and he looked at me. I went, did you wear it out?
Well,
So
you know,
after a break, he turned it on again and it ran for a while and then it made this awful same noise.
Yeah, it's the
Oh,
tracking on it, you know, I mean, all that repetitive motion.
I think that's what it is.
I would,
I
I'd
just
say,
suggested
just
he-
shop for something good and it will be
Well,
valuable.
he doesn't get anything that isn't good quality. But when it comes to photography,
My
he
opinion,
doesn't
yeah, my opinion,
just talk.
what he's, I mean, the three pictures, the 3 slides that you did for comparison, I mean, there was no comparison. I mean, it didn't, the one that you'd, the vendor you had gone to first, David's was much better than either the high price or the low price. I mean, to me, there was,
And the low price one, the 45-cent one, oh, that was just, it was not going to work for us.
well, even doubling the price, it still was inferior, in my opinion, to what David was doing.
You know, the color did seem to be off.
Yeah, it was just, to me, in all aspects, David's was much better.
It seemed to be a truer color,
Right.
a more normal, natural color.
And
So he's having fun. He's
Better.
busy, so.
Get that new scanner.
Well, I'll tell him if it goes, he can go get a new one and send the bill to you, Kim.
I will happily compensate him.
Okay, so we're saving money in the long run because the scanner won't be that expensive.
Well, it's saving money though, Karen, but this is perpetuity we're talking about, and the work has to be done well. And it's really great that somebody who knows the plants too. I mean, if he'd scan something and could see the color was messed up, I mean, he'd know it. Whereas these other purveyors, they didn't, you know, they didn't know this, you know, it's too much red or too much green. So I mean, I'd even pay him a consulting fee or something. I would be in favor of that, you know, for his time, but we appreciate the gift of it, really.
I like the fact that it's going to get done. And I'm glad that he can do it. I thank you all because it does give him something to do that he's still able to do. He's still able to do it. There will come a time down the road when he won't be able to do things like this. But as long as he's comfortable doing it, happy doing it, and he's had to give up quite a number of things this last year and a half, 2 years. And he's not here at the moment, so I can say David has dementia and it's progressing. So, but he's still happy and things that he's good at doing, he can still keep doing other things. Oh, well. Enough
I
said.
understand.
Enough said. So I'm happy that he's doing something productive, satisfactory, and we can all give him an applause afterwards when it's. So. And down the road after he does Dennis's, if David's still able to keep going, especially during the winter months when there's not a lot to do, we could consider doing other people's slides if you would like to contribute them. One of the things we need to figure out is where to store the slides.
Mhm.
I'm thinking it's probably going to be something like Dropbox. I don't know if there will be a fee for the size storage that we'll need for all these slides, but it wouldn't be very much, I don't think, and we could probably do it annually. And you know, I don't know whether it's, you know, it'd be $50 a year or something like that for storage space. But I'm also going to request that we try and find someone within the group, and I'll do a notice on it in the next newsletter. I'd like to have someone take over as a photo librarian, and that would be to just to keep an eye on it, make sure things get organized, stay organized, and that appropriate people get access to it. I want it, I'd like to see it password protected so that it's not wide open to the public. And it shouldn't be open for the bots and spiders and whatever's crawling the internet and grabbing all the pictures. But these would be ours, and we could, I don't know, maybe down the road, put a copyright symbol on it and say copyright Dennis Horn /TNPS, or maybe Bart Jones /TNPS, or whoever donates slides, we could put them in and give them, that way they would get a credit, but it would be a joint credit to the two. And then we'd have it to do and use in the for the newsletter in particular. Like today, I was looking, I almost got the newsletter together, but I need photos. So, and I've got some space to fill. So, and photos would make a big difference in it.
Yeah, I might have some photos from our trip. I can go look back and see what I got.
Please send them. Thank you. That's good news.
Karen, one thing we talked about, you know, along with scanning my slides, we wanted to also scan the TNPS book slides.
Yes.
And I got to thinking that, of course, Lone Pine scanned all those in the beginning, and of course they had a super duper scanner at that time. In fact, nobody was doing any digital photography at that time. It was all film and all slides. It's possible that we could talk them into, they're already digitized, letting us have a copy of all of those. We would have to negotiate with them on how we would use them and so forth. But I mean, our book is really supposed to be jointly published by us and them, although they're the ones that always run the show. But I think you've had very good luck with Lone Pine as far as getting money out of them, as far as, you know, book money that they owed us that they were reluctant to turn over and so forth. And of course, you're familiar kind of with copyright issues. I wondered if before we tried to copy, of course, I have a duplicate set of the slides, the book slides. I mean, before we turned them all back to the individuals who furnished them, we made a duplicate copy. So I have a duplicate slide copy, but we wouldn't have to digitize them if we could talk Lone Pine into giving us a digitized copy. So I just thought that could be a big plus if they would be willing to do that.
I'll contact them and see what they say.
Okay.
All right. Does anyone know of anything besides Dropbox that might be suitable for storage, or have any other ideas or suggestions for that, for the photos? My thought was to put it in the cloud so that anybody who needs it and requests access to them, we could let them share the password, and then periodically we could change the password so we could keep control of the photos.
I hate to
And-
say this, and sure enough, I'll jinx something, but you know how what you were saying, Karen, with spiders and whatever crawling, but Dropbox is pretty robust, and you know it's where I would put anything I cared about would be in Dropbox, and you know, but of course, as sure as I say that, everybody's
Well,
stuff's
look
going
at
to
that.
get wiped out.
I'll do some research on that. I hadn't gotten to that yet, but you know, Dropbox, and I'll see if there are any others, but they're the ones that I come to mind because they're most used by a lot of groups. Let's see. Does that make sense though, to have somebody as a photo librarian? To take
Sounds
care
like a
of-
good idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Okay. I thought maybe we could could pull in someone, especially some of the younger group that are more technologically savvy than some of us are, and maybe get them involved that way into watching over the photos. Taken care of. Now I'll put out a plea for that. See if I can get a volunteer. Book supply. I think I've got. Kim, how many books do you have?
I'm sorry, I haven't sold or I haven't moved any books since the last report. So, and I don't have a copy of that.
Okay. No
I don't have
changes.
many. I don't think I have any wildflower books. I think I gave those all to Bettina. Did you get? I don't think I have any wildflower books. I think if I have anything, I've got maybe some of the woody plant ones
Okay.
and a vascular plant, but that's it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I gave you what I had at the Quarterman Festival. So, but we may have sold all the wildflower books. I can't remember.
Yeah. No, you
Oh, no, I gave them
didn't.
back to Dennis.
You didn't. You were giving them. Yeah, you're like, I got these from Dennis. I'm giving.
Yeah, I gave
them
them back to Dennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave the wildflower. Yeah, I gave them back to Dennis. That's right. I remember now. So they went back to
I
Dennis.
got them from you, Bettina, at Bart's
Yes,
field trip
yes.
up there
Yes.
near Sparta.
I'd forgotten that.
Okay. I think we're in pretty good shape at the moment. But I'll add the numbers up and I'll put it on the director's page of the website. So everybody can see it. Do you know where the director's page is, folks?
Yeah.
Any page of the website, down at the bottom left, in the foot section, the footer section, there are 3 options on the left. It's donations, membership, and directors. If you click on directors, that's a page for us. It's not protected. Others can see it too, but it's got information specifically for us as directors. And that's where I post the book numbers, the book count. We also have our minutes are there. So you can grab a copy of the minutes anytime you want them. I also, what else is there? And I have a list of officers. So if you need someone, can't remember a name, want to look up something. Yeah, I've got, and when our next meetings are. It's all posted on that page. Okay,
Well, that's nice. Yeah, I see the book count. Mhm.
yeah, it's there for us to use. Next up is the online course for students. I know I proposed this back in the spring and I still want to see it happen. But I'm kind of seeing I'm thinking that we need to work on the library. I knew we needed to get the library started, get the slides scanned first, because those slides, those images can be the basis for our online course. It would be the provider of the source of all of our, or most of our images that we would use on an online course, I would think. So Susie, Kim, and I are all volunteers for that. Maybe we can get it going for this winter. It's just, I had too much going on to push it forward earlier in the year. So I apologize, but it's something I really want to see done. I think it would be beneficial, and I think we're in a unique position to do it. And let's see, Susie, you have experience as a teacher, right? You're muted. You're muted.
I have a master's in education.
Okay. Did you teach high school?
No. But I taught 12-year-olds a few years ago at an inner city school downtown. I taught them gardening on the 3rd floor of a bank building.
Tip of the hat to you.
Yeah. 4 days a week, we gardened.
I'm sure they loved it.
They did. They got to get out of their chair.
Yes, and that can be very important. I taught middle school and high school, and the middle school in particular. You try not to glue them to the seats because it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Not for very long. So always have to give them the incentive. Well, if everybody behaves today, tomorrow we're going to go on a hike. Okay, yeah. So we're going to go out. Yeah. All right, so I'll try and pull together a meeting and help us get started on that. I'm thinking there might be some other teachers out there, other educators out there in TNPS that might be interested. So I'll put out a plea in the newsletter. Okay. And next up is the newsletter. Our last newsletter, we had an 8-page newsletter, 210 copies for $315.81. So that's down from what we were paying. I did go to a different printer, one that's up near me here. They're actually between me and Hillary, up near Cool Springs Galleria Mall, which is right along 65. So it's an easy access area. They did help us get started. Not only did they help us, they did it for us after I gave them the information, and they applied for us for the nonprofit mailing permit, which will drop our mailing expenses by about half from what it has been. And that alone will be a savings.
Yes.
And I think they're cheaper, and the quality, I think, of the newsletter is
Good.
equal to what we had before. So I don't think we're compromising. So there's a little bit more convenience. They're closer to where I am. I can go in and pick up any extra copies and not have them shipping them to me for some horrendous fee, which is what they were doing from the one we had before. So I'm happy with that. I've got very nearly have enough material together for, it won't be, well, I'll call it a September newsletter, but I can probably get it to the printer. I'll send out tomorrow to everyone for proofreading probably. And then get it to the printer on Monday. We should be able to get another copy out soon. Okay.
Thank you, Karen. I guess when you became president, you didn't realize you get to be treasurer, newsletter editor, online class leader,
Photo
and,
librarian.
No,
Zoom
I'm not doing all these things. I'm
seminar
passing them off
leader.
as quick as I can.
Well, it sounds like she's the jack of all.
Amazing. Thank
Um,
you for doing that heavy lifting and, keeping our presence for people's membership money. I think that's just awesome. I mean, it's just wonderful.
Well, at some point here, maybe I'll burn out, so be ready.
Just don't.
Yeah, Alan might have to pick up. All right. So we're working on the newsletter anyway. It's very close. If anybody has anything they'd like to go in, I've gotten articles from a lot of you, but if anyone has anything else that they think might need to go in or should go in this time around, please let me know.
I can send you a little blurb on the fall wildflower. They have the virtual wildflower pilgrimage. I can
Oh,
write you up. That'd be very short. It'll be like one paragraph, but I can send you that if you'd like it.
I'd love it.
Okay, well, I'll do that tonight.
All right. Thank you, Bettina. That's super. The Cullowhee Native Plant Conference did go off as a virtual event. They have over $500 of ours for a scholarship for somebody from Tennessee to stay, their room and board and registration fees for the whole conference. But now, since it went virtual, I'm thinking next year when they put their hand out and say we'd like a scholarship, I'm going to say you can use at least some of the scholarship money that has been available to you.
Yeah, I don't know if they used it. I doubt they did, but I don't know if they used it for
I doubt it too.
to give a virtual scholarship. So I mean, we could subtract the virtual
Conference fee.
scholarship.
We'll see.
We're
They'll have to answer some questions.
right. I tried.
Yeah.
You might have better.
Yeah.
You might have better success.
We need to get some accounting from them
Mhm.
before we give them any more money on that.
Are they asking already?
Not yet.
Mhm.
They asked for this year and I said, excuse me? You didn't use it last year and you're having a virtual one this year. I don't think we're going to send any more scholarship money for this year. Oh, we didn't realize you'd sent some. Excuse me?
No good.
No.
All right, folks, I'm gonna have to run. Good to see
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hope
See you
you win your
Saturday.
match.
Me too.
Bye, Bart.
Bye.
Have fun. Next up is delisting of the Cumberland new business is delisting of Cumberland sandwort. that was, we had a real nice email that came across on that. And I've pretty much copied the email and put it into the newsletter. So I tried to contact Todd and asked him if he would do an article, but I'd never heard back from him. So I don't know.
He's covered up. I mean,
Is it?
it's got to be a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
don't
I
you
was-
think, Alan? I mean, aren't you guys just totally covered up, understaffed, this pandemic? It's,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I mean,
definitely. Mhm.
All right. Well, I managed the notice that went out was pretty comprehensive. So in reading through it, I thought, well, this in itself would be a good newsletter article. So I pretty much copied it, most of that, and sliced it into the newsletter. So give everyone that information. And Dennis sent me a nice article about the Kentucky lady slipper in Tennessee.
Ooh.
So we've got that in there. So those are the two main things that went in. And then the trip reports and a few other things. Next, under new businesses, do we need a statement on the differences in values of native plant versus native versus cultivar? What do y'all think?
What do you mean by a statement?
Well, the wild ones and a lot of the other native plant societies are adopting statements on. Wild Ones has a statement on the use of nativars, and Virginia's Native Plant Society has a statement on the use of cultivars. Is that something that we might want to put out there or not? There is a difference between the three.
Mhm.
I put one in my book just because I think it's good educational value. I think people need to know what they're buying. And a lot of
I
people
agree.
don't know the difference.
Well, do you have a blurb there? Do you have a blurb in your book?
Me? Yeah, I did a chapter on nomenclature.
Could you, would you consider maybe if you, maybe we need to start with definitions. Would you consider cutting something down for a newsletter? Does that sound like a good thing to do? For a newsletter entry?
Yeah, I'll cut it and send it to you and y'all can massage
Does
it.
that sound reasonable, Karen?
It does. Sounds very
So
helpful.
that's a good start. And then we could, we'd get the definitions first and then we could think about if we wanted to make a policy or something.
Yeah.
Make a recommendation.
Yeah.
to-
But no, I think
The
I
garden.
always like to start with definitions.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I'm always amazed at the nativars, how different they become from the native plants very quickly. You
Yeah.
can hardly recognize them often.
And it's got to make a difference in the pollinators, I would think.
That'd be an interesting study.
And there are two of them you can look up. One's a young graduate student, I think it was in 2014 at University of New Hampshire, that actually did a test case where she planted the native and then she planted the nativar all the way around it. And then she did an insect count to see if they would stop at the nativar before they got to the native. And then Doug Tallamy's doing one too. I think it's at Cuba, whatever. Anyway, he's done a lot of research on it since she has. So
Yeah, there are a number of people out there that are starting to look into it.
Yeah. I've had a lot of resistance. I had Terry Barnes just rip me a new one because she didn't agree with anything I said in my book about that. So very controversial. I mean, you might as well discuss vaccination.
Oops.
Yeah, native R versus vaccination. But I'll send y'all I'll cut and paste it and send it to you. You can see what you
appreciate
think.
That gives us a starting point.
Yeah, it's
And,
not technical.
and that's what we need, because there's a lot of happy homeowners out there who are starting to learn about native plants, and they're easily conned
Yeah,
by nurseries into getting something that isn't really a native.
yeah,
It doesn't take a lot. I mean, when I first moved to Tennessee, I knew a lot of the plants because they were much the same as what I saw and what I knew from Maryland, but there were a lot of plants I didn't know as well. And when I went to the first nursery I went to claimed to be a native nursery, and they sold me several plants, quite a few plants actually, that they said were natives. They just didn't make it clear which country.
I compare it to mules, buying a mule.
Yeah.
That would be a good title. They said it was a native plant, but they didn't tell me which country. That would be a great,
Yes,
great-
it would. That would be a good title. That would make an
For the
interesting
news-
article.
Yeah,
But actually, it's not the country; it's the manipulation of the
yeah, the
plant.
genotype.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, but it starts with getting clarity as to where they're native. Then is it a cultivar? Is it a nativar? And a good nursery person should be able to say that, in my opinion. I think some of them would disagree, but oh well. Where do we draw the line? That's one thing. I think we need to help the public and help our membership understand the differences between them. So I think this could result in a lively conversation at some point for us. All right. Any other comments or ideas on that? All right.
Hi, can I call you back?
One of the things that we have coming up is our elections. We need to do something about that. We're required to have an election each year. And this year we have 3 of our board members are up for re-election. Bart, Michelle, let's see. Susie, Bart, and Michelle are up for re-election. Bart has already said yes, he would like to stay on. Susie, would you like to stay on?
sure. I think I said yes. It may not have gotten through the pipes.
Okay, and I'll have to contact Michelle. So and find out. Because if she's not willing, then we need to find another replacement for her. One thing that did not make it to the new business list is the plant atlas.
Mm.
They sent this out in August, and they sent a copy to me, but they sent it to my old address that is no more. So I did not see this email from Joey Shaw until a few weeks ago. About 2 weeks ago, actually. So I did not know anything about it. There Some of you received it. Let's see. Susan, Bettina, Alan, Kim. I see your names on the list. For those of you that haven't seen it, on the plant atlas, let me read you just a little bit from it, from this email. It might be, this is from Joey Shaw. It might be best, easiest to have a conference call about this. I'm happy to set that up. I'm writing to ask that you consider financially helping the Tennessee-Kentucky Plant Atlas some more. I'm sure you're aware that in the original strategy, Ashley Morris, formerly MTSU, Brad Ruffel, formerly Eastern Kentucky, Dwayne Estes and I had planned for TNPS and Kentucky NPS to cover the costs of the build and the first couple years of maintenance fees, which totaled $3,750. In short, we failed to raise the money for 2021 and received a request from them for $3,750. I am anticipating another to come in May 2022. Earlier this summer, about May, I leveraged some of the kinks problems with the site and the fact that they had not been fixed to tell them that I personally did not feel it was acceptable to try to fundraise maintenance fees on a site that had problems. That prompted them to fix the problems and then to promptly again request the maintenance fees for 2021. There are still some quirks, but on something this size, I expect there always will be. He goes into a lot more that gets rather convoluted at times. Basically, they're hoping that we'll help them out. So we can afford to do it. I guess the question is, are we in favor of doing it?
Would this be paying half of it and Kentucky would pay the other half? Is that?
I think so. That was what my take from it. So half of 3,750.
18 something.
1825.
What are your thoughts on that?
I guess I'm not against it. I mean, that would not be a big sum, but we have already put in, I think, 18,500.
We have.
And I think probably that was more than our share. I don't know who else might be out there that might make contributions, but I guess personally, I feel like we've done our part. But since they're not asking for that much, I mean, I could go either way, but I guess I feel like that we shouldn't feel any obligation to put up any more money than what we already have.
So this would be something that would happen every year, that they would be asking for this money. It's maintenance fee is every year.
It's implied in here that they're asking for this year, for 2021 and for 2022.
So basically, it is going to be something that's going to have to be paid every year. Is that right? That they're going to have to pay this fee to maintain the site?
He said a couple of years, so we could maybe hold him to that and say,
what I'm
okay.
getting out of what Karen read, what I'm getting out of it is that they were asking TNPS to put up money for getting it launched, getting it put together, and getting it launched, and it was supposed to have been done already, but they're having some problems and issues, and Joey doesn't feel like, I mean, so he's got people lined up to pay maintenance on it. But he doesn't feel like that all the bugs have been worked out yet, and that so in the meantime, he's reluctant to ask others that have volunteered to help with the maintenance until it's fully operational. So I think what he's doing is coming back to us and saying, give us a little more money to get over that hump and get it fully operational.
Mm.
And then we can go on with our maintenance people, which is not TNPS,
Yeah.
but others. Does that sound right, Karen?
Yes. In fact, there's a sentence at the very end that probably would be helpful. He says, in short, Dwayne and I are hoping that TNPS and KNPS might be willing to help us with the maintenance fees for a couple more years while Dwayne and I focus on larger chunks of grant money to continue to build and enhance. He doesn't want to spend money on maintenance that he'd rather be using on building and enhancing what's there. So the people he's got lined up for maintenance down the road, he doesn't want to hit them up for maintenance yet. He's kind of holding them off, saying, if y'all can help us now, it'll give us a better product.
Yeah, I would agree that it has had problems when I've tried to use it. Has not been what I had hoped it would be so far.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
We're pretty heavily invested in this.
we are.
Do we want to
Mhm.
risk losing it over 1825 a year temporarily?
But I do think that it would be quite reasonable, as he says in his email, to say, okay, 2 years, we're willing to help for 2 years, which will be the last May and this coming up May, and period, and and not make this an ongoing thing.
Yes.
I agree with Bettina. I do think, we have a pretty strong treasury, and this is a worthwhile effort. And I sure don't want us to lose all the energy and money we put into it so far.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with both of you, but I do think, like Bettina said, it should be okay after we do this. This is it.
I agree.
Okay. Do I have a motion to? Do we have a motion?
I move that we give half of the sum that he mentioned for our portion of this year's maintenance fee and next year's maintenance fee. And that's it.
I
I
second.
second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, the motion passes. All right, so Kim, I'll forward some information to you. You may already have it, but I can forward it to you.
See if I can find that.
You should, you're on the, yeah, you should have
Yeah,
received
I
it.
probably have
August 27th was the original mail
Okay.
date. So you already have it, your name's on it.
Mhm.
So if you would draw up a check for them.
Okay.
Maybe we can put a note in with the check saying we were contributing this much towards maintenance, but please consider other options when it comes to consider to future maintenance needs.
I think it would be good to
wonder-
put that in a letter form from the president.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a reasonable thing. I wonder if Kentucky gave any money.
I don't know.
Karen, didn't he say that what they're asking us for is half who, I mean, did it say who was furnishing the other half?
Kentucky,
Kentucky?
they're asking us and they're asking Kentucky.
Well, I think, okay. So we're going to do our half for 2 years. And then I think I would make it clear that we think that's going to be it.
I agree, definitely.
Okay. I'll draw up a letter then. And I'll get the letter to you, Kim, and we'll do a check and get it off to them. Okay. The last thing we have to do is next meeting. Unless anybody else has more new business. Any ideas, suggestions, things that we need to talk about?
I didn't ask to have this put on the agenda, and Bart's probably in his first tennis match, but as new treasurer, I see the registrations coming in, and it's pretty much wonderful. And thinking about this situation where people, and this happened in 1 month, there were 10 people that registered on the website, but then didn't follow through and pay. And I don't know if there's some way that they can't do that, because and then, you got to email them, and then they're like, oh my God, well, that's the 2 that you hear from, and the others, whatever. So it's, the PayPal is cool. I mean, this is really a great thing. I mean, I don't think anybody wants the responsibility of having somebody, doing that. And the charge did go up a little bit, but whatever it is, I think it's worth it. I just see that as a kind of a wrinkle, especially since our, it's an income of it's not like we count on it as income, but it's, it's the people that are part of our organization. And I'd hate to think that of the 2 that contact me, only 1 ended up putting their money down. Even Milo said, oh my God, check PayPal, did I pay? He was going to do a life membership. He never got her done. I think there's something, I don't know if we could have a little tutorial. Here's how PayPal works. And if you don't get this, then we don't have your money. I don't know, that was just something I was thinking about that maybe we could do. That's huge now with all this remote teaching we've been doing. Everyone's all about that. I don't know how to do that, but I know that maybe, Karen, I bet you know how to do it. I hate to ask, but do you know what I'm saying? Like something.
It's been a constant issue all along, ever since we put in the credit card payment.
Which that's magnificent.
It does bring in a lot more money, and I think it's largely a younger crowd, which is something that we desperately need in this organization, I think.
Which you getting out that newsletter it's just so fantastic that you've stayed on that, and because that's what people are looking for their money. There's some $10 ones. The other thing that is kind of weighing on me is like, how do you know when you need to re-up? And that's the question. I think Bart and we did a conference call and talked for about an hour, and I didn't really get any resolution. I mean, he's kind of got it figured out how he does things, which is magnificent. And the fact that he re-upped is, everyone needs to really thank him. We should probably send him a present, because the membership management of that it's
critical.
Oh, goodness. Oh, it's so critical. But so he doesn't know that those 10 people didn't pay. He just sees that they joined. So then I have to communicate to him, hey, these 10 people did not pay, take them off the list. And I feel like that probably something gets kind of lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
But the bigger thing I wanted to say is, so when do people have to renew? Could we just say January?
It's
And if it's
supposedly
joined by
January 1.
October- Pardon?
January 1 is the new renewal date.
But let's say I joined in November 1st.
Then you would get a year and 2 months.
So, okay, I joined in September.
I know, this is where I need to
This
talk
is where
with
it
Bart
gets
too.
icky. And I'm like,
See
ooh,
what
this
he's
is, we
doing.
gotta come, we have to have something in writing so people know, look, we're gonna hit you up again. And, inside of the quarter. So is the quarter, I actually don't even know. Is it September, the last quarter? September to December is the last quarter of the
Yes.
year. So some kind of policy where if you join within the last quarter of the year, we roll you through to another. But I don't think that we have that in place.
No, I don't think we have any firm procedure for doing that. That's something maybe you and I and Bart need to get together on a short conference call, the three of us,
I thought what
and
we
talk about.
were trying, I thought what our policy was, but it was kind of a loose policy that if you joined after July 1, that you were good for a year and a half, basically. But if you joined, if it was before July 1, then you were just paying for that year that we were in. But that was just kind of a loose thing that I remembered from somewhere in the past.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think whatever it is we're doing, we ought to, if we just can put it in writing.
Yeah.
And I'm agreeable to that too. I think that. And then the other thing is people, I haven't I did one field trip for Todd when he had his kidney surgery, but I don't want to hit people up for money showing up to my hike. But on the other hand, we've got people showing up to hike and they're not a member. And, I think that's awkward too. It's like, oh, you're not a member. Well, if I see you again, show me your membership card. It's something else too to think about. We're not in it to make money. That's not why we want people to love the plants and to, love the earth that these plants are growing in and protect it.
I think we've always considered, guests are welcome on field trips. And if it's a field trip or any kind of a official event, we can offer them a half price membership, which for $10 is a bargain.
Is a
And
bargain.
a lot of them will just reach in their pocket and give you $10 and give you your, you give them the little sheet to fill out. So I think, that's kind of the way I've handled it. If they're not members, I just say, you can join today for $10.
I always tell people they don't have to be members, when I tell people about trips or whatever. So that's a little different viewpoint.
Oh, no, I think that that's how I ended up getting involved, was because I came to a hike the first time. And, it makes us too much like the wild ones if our trips aren't free.
That's part of our education and outreach, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we have lots of people that want to, we have lots of people that want to join. I don't think we have a lot of people that are taking advantage of our, but yeah, it would be nice to have a way, like, for example, the Smoky Mountains, like the Great Smoky Mountains, the little Friends of the Smokies thing just sent me, I don't know, I guess I signed up for this, but they just sent me a thing saying, we're going to renew your membership unless you have a problem. And I think I must have said it was okay to renew it year after year, but if we had some mechanism where we could automatically renew, that would be wonderful. So that we
That's an
could just,
idea too.
but I don't know how we would do
Wow.
that.
Man, especially if we got these maintenance fees we're stuck for a while.
Yeah.
I'm really glad I became a lifetime member because now I don't have to worry about when I have to renew my
You're
membership.
here.
Me too.
That's what I should do because I will think about March or April. Hey, I haven't paid my dues yet.
Maybe we can look into that auto renewal option. I think there is a way to do it with PayPal, but I haven't looked into it. So, Kim, would you want to take a gander and see if,
Yeah,
and
I'll look and see. I bet they have that
I
option
think they
and-
do.
with an email that says, we're getting ready to renew you know, and the burden is on you to stop it. And if we
But
don't
you-
hear from you, then we're gonna
Or
charge
Draw
You
them
ought
you.
in.
to be able
renew.
to opt for a one-time as well, so you don't feel like you're getting four.
Right.
So you
Sure.
can do
Oh,
it's like when you go on Amazon and you can buy it once or get set up
Yeah.
for auto delivery.
Yeah. But I think there is a possibility with PayPal. I think that is an option.
Yeah, that would be good.
Just one I didn't think about, but that would resolve some of the problem for some people.
so I got through most of the email from Joey just a minute ago, and he said perhaps we should have a call. And I think it might be in our best interest if we do that we do talk to him rather than just send him the money. I mean, I'm fine. I'll do whatever. I mean, we voted to send him the money and that's exactly what I'll do. But on the other hand, it is something that we're invested in as an organization in a really big way. Just, maybe even just kind of a smaller group of us, just meet with him and find out what's going on. Like, are they counting on us each year to do this? I mean, he's just saying this period of time, but in reality, are we really looking at supporting this ongoing?
I think we're looking at in perpetuity.
That's a fear.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Unless we treat them like a teenager with an allowance and
Yeah.
say you get it for 2 years and that's it.
But then what keeps it going? I mean, if they don't have any money, what keeps it going?
I don't think
Yeah.
that our
Needs to be somebody besides the plant society.
right.
Yeah,
I don't think our contribution is generous enough to make them think that they can live on that indefinitely.
Yeah. You're probably right.
Well said.
Well, there's about 6 different states that are doing this. I mean, I guess Florida started it, and then Alabama's in it, and Indiana's in it, and New York State is in it, and so forth. We're probably, the 6th or 7th organization that is using this platform. And I think Joey and them need to find out how the others are funding their part of it. And it's got to be a bigger thing than relying on TNPS, I'd say, down the road. I think we've pretty much already done our part. Our attempt was to help them get it launched. And I think we paid for most of the launching. And from here on, they really need to find other places to get the funding for it.
It sounds like that's what they're doing. They're fishing. They're applying for, whatever. It sounds like today we're in the queue until October or December 3rd, I guess, or something. So we got money till then, but it sounds like they're looking at, just going after grants. And that was an NSF funded endeavor that was millions of dollars. So a lot, I just don't know. So I think if we spoke with him, we might get a little bit more clarity. I think we should commit. We've committed. I think that was a good decision, but I think just for knowing what's going to happen, down the road, that it would be good to talk with them.
Should we go ahead then and set up a call? I can ask Joey to set up a conference call with the board, and
Yeah, I think that
those
would
that
be a
can
good
attend,
idea.
please do, and we'll at least discuss it and ask them some questions and hold off on the letter and the check until after we've talked with them.
I think so. And since we've already voted, we don't necessarily need to say that.
Right.
No, we don't.
But, if we're ready to bust a move, we can, and we feel like it's something that's still sounds real, then, we can at that point say, yeah, the check's in the mail.
Yeah. Okay, well, see if I can't set up the meeting then. I'm assuming it's probably gonna be Zoom.
My apologies for backing into this again, because I remember reading the
Mhm.
email and you read it to me, but then just when I read it, I was just kind of had that rolling around in my head.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll ask Joey to go ahead and set up a conference call or Zoom call if you would prefer. I would feel better with a Zoom call. I don't know about the rest of you. Conference call is just all these voices.
No,
and wondering
Zoom,
who's
Zoom.
who.
I meant a Zoom would be great.
Okay. All right, and we'll hold off, Kim and I will hold off on the letter and the check until after we've heard his explanation, and we could re-vote afterwards if we decided that's what we wanted to do.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yep.
All righty. I will contact him tomorrow, or try. I'll
And
start trying tomorrow. So I'm assuming that's going to take a bit. Anything else that we need to talk about? With the next meeting for January 13th, does that sound okay? It's
January
a Thursday.
13th.
It's a Thursday. And if that doesn't work, if there's other things happening, let me just give me a suggestion. I can switch it.
well, since Bart plays tennis on Thursday nights, and he said this from the get-go, and being part of the board, and maybe at some point we need him around to be a vote, maybe we could pick another night.
I tried to find, when I first started this, I tried to find a night that was good for everyone. And we have our seminars on Tuesday nights. Does anybody have something going on Tuesdays that would prevent you from coming? Well, maybe I can move it to the Tuesday of that week, and it'll be, we'll do things on Tuesday nights then. Both the conference call, our board meeting and the seminars. We can do them both on Tuesdays. But
That sounds like a good
different
idea.
ones.
Yep.
And what if I switch the time so the time is the same for both? Are y'all getting a little confused as I might be?
Yeah, because
Even
that,
better.
yeah, I got confused,
2 weeks ago?
yeah, no, in July I got confused. So,
Okay. All right. Well, if the 13th is a Thursday, how about January 11th?
All right, that'll be a Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay.
oh, I just heard someone howl.
Pardon me.
All right. Anything else? Any comments, suggestions, ideas? Anything you want to throw out there, folks?
I'd like